I have a very simple question for you, but your answer to this question is what determines your destiny. Are you ready for the question? Are you living your best life? Think about it for a minute. Are you living the absolute dream life? Is this what you thought it would be? Is this the life you've always wanted? If it's not, it can be. And it all comes down to two things: weeds and seeds. In the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you how you can cut out the weeds that you've planted in your life and you can plant healthy seeds. And we're going to look at 3 simple laws that are universal, that absolutely have to change it all because it's the way the universe works. I'm Jim, y'all, and I found peace, purpose, and prosperity in my life just over a year and a half ago, and I want to help you to do the same. If that sounds like something you want some more of, I invite you to subscribe below, give this video a like, leave me a comment. I'd like to get to know you a little bit better. But what are these 3 universal laws when it comes to weeds and seeds in our life? Well, here it is. Basically, the first law is whatever you plant, you're going to produce. The life you're living right now is the life you planted many moons ago. We live by the driving force of our subconscious. What we've planted deep in our mind produces in our life. Thoughts become things. You are living the life you're living today because throughout your life, you have told yourself this is the way life works. You've created a belief system. Now, some of that was put into you from others and from external forces, whether it's the way you were raised or your teachers in life or media or whatever it is. We have adopted this belief about reality and how it works. And those are the seeds that we've planted into our soul, into our subconscious, into our heart, into our mind, into the very fiber of who we are. And after a lengthy amount of time, those seeds have all come up and they have formed the life you are now living. Now, for a lot of us, there's a lot of weeds in those seeds. There's a lot of stuff in your life today that you probably wish was not there. Well, the good news is these second 2 laws we're going to look at are going to help you understand how to get the weeds out and get the healthy seeds growing that you want in your life. There is a verse in the ancient scriptures in the Bible that says, whatever a person sows, that shall they also reap. That means whatever you plant into your mind, whatever you plant into your subconscious, it's going to grow, it's going to come up, whether it's positive or it's negative. If you continue to feed into your life weeds, a belief that you can't, a belief that things aren't going to work out, a belief that there is a dream life you have out there, but you can't live it because ... whatever your ... is, you're going to continue to believe that, and you're going to continue to grow weeds in your life that choke out that healthy seed of that life you really want. Now, the second law is maybe my favorite law because weeds can be whacked almost instantly. Now, of course, if you have a weed whacker, a weed eater that we call it from where I'm from, you can go out in the backyard and you knock weeds down and they'll come back pretty much instantly, right? Weeds grow really fast is the problem with weeds in our life. You can whack them with a weed whacker, but you can get at the source of the weeds in your subconscious and you can kill them off almost overnight. In our front yard here, every year since we've lived in this house for nearly 13, 14 years now, I think, during the springtime, dandelions come up. And dandelions are a weed, if you didn't know that. They're beautiful for a while. They're these little yellow flowers and they get everywhere, but then they turn into the dandelion spore, the little flowers that you blow, and it seems magical, but what happens is that one little flower produces hundreds of little dandelion spores and they spread out, and the next year there's more of them and more of them, and they spread all over the neighborhood and they get everywhere. We tried everything to get rid of our dandelions, but they just kept we tried everything to get rid of our dandelions, but they just kept growing and growing and producing and producing. And this year I found something that a guy that I work with uses on his dandelions, and he said this stuff works. And it's a spray, and I put it all over my front yard this year as the dandelions began to come up. And for about a week, nothing happened. And then for about 2 weeks, nothing happened. And this guy told me in a few days this stuff should work, maybe a week. So I gave it a little while. About the second week, all at once, everything in my yard turned yellow. The grass itself kind of turned this milky greenish yellow color. And he said, don't worry, that'll come back. And all at once, the killer of that weed took effect and those things died. And when everybody else in my neighborhood had those little dandelion spores that come up and stick up, they had them all over their yards. I had a handful of them in my yard. It killed almost every single weed. I did away with it. It's been with me 14 years in this yard in the front of my house now, and our lawn was gone almost overnight. That's the way the weeds are in your mind. You can eliminate them. You can get rid of them, but you have to first acknowledge them, that they're there. You have to acknowledge that the life you're living now is a life you've chosen to live. It's a life that you've planted in your subconscious. And like I said, maybe others did that for you in your formative years, but you've chosen to stay with your belief system. If you believe things won't work out, guess what? They won't work out. If you believe things aren't going to get better, they're not going to get better. One of my favorite quotes is by Henry Ford, where he said, whether a man believes he can or believes he can't, he's right. What you believe is what your life produces. And if you've allowed weeds of disbelief to come up, they will choke out the good, healthy seeds, the grass in your mind of the dreams you want to grow. So this second principle is you can whack your weeds almost overnight. That's the good part of weeds. You can destroy them quickly. And as you do that, the other part of that good news is when you plant seeds of your dream life, when you begin to plant seeds of belief, of faith that things can work for you and you do have what it takes and you can begin to build the life you want to build, those seeds will start to come up more quickly even than the weeds came up over time in your life to choke out the healthy seeds in your life. When we plant positive thoughts, they grow quickly in our life. And I've experienced this in my own life over the last year and a half, where I've changed my entire belief system, my entire mindset, and it's changed my entire attitude about life, my hopefulness. I have more joy, I have more peace, I have more purpose, I have more prosperity. It's infected every single thing in my life simply because I started growing some new healthy seeds and eliminating some old weeds. So your weeds can get whacked almost overnight and healthy seeds can come up and take their place. So the first law is whatever you plant, you're going to produce. The second law is weeds can get whacked almost overnight. You can replace them with healthy seeds that grow up and change your life. The third law is simply this: your produce is going to super exceed your planting. Your produce is going to super exceed your planting. The way planting works is when the crop begins to come up that you've planted, you're going to have so much more produce than what you planted. If you plant corn in the ground, it grows into a stalk that produces multiple ears of corn and fields and fields and fields of corn. I live in a farming area here in Wisconsin, and I can drive out 20 minutes from my house and see the farmers out planting about right now. They just got their crops planted and they're starting to grow and they're working on them and doing all that. But here in just a couple of months, they're going to be out there on those tractors late into the night, pulling in that bumper crop of that crop that they planted, because it's going to produce so much more than those tiny seeds they put in the ground. Whatever you plant into your mind, it's going to grow up in multitudes and multitudes of stronger force. It does it with weeds and it does it with seeds. If you planted a lack of belief, guess what? You're going to have a lack of belief that you experience in multiple areas of your life. Your lack of belief in yourself gets bigger and bigger with time if you don't get that weed out. But the same is true for the positive seeds, the healthy seeds that you plant in your life. If you begin to believe that you can have the life you want, if you begin to believe that you can live that dream life that you thought might not ever come to fruition, might not ever be possible, the great news is that is going to be a bumper crop when it comes up, but it's going to take a little time. Here is the bonus round. You've got to be willing to wait for it. Plant the seeds now. Believe it now. Continue to believe it. Continue to reinforce thoughts in your mind that say, hey, I'm planting new thoughts, positive thoughts, a belief in myself. I'm getting rid of the old weeds that said I can't and says I would, but ... Here's why I don't. Whatever that ... is for you, as you get rid of all that in your life, begin to believe just a little ways down the road, I'm going to have a bumper crop of this new way of thinking, because it's going to change everything in your life. You got to wait. This is not social media, y'all. You can't swipe and get it all in 15 seconds and then swipe on to the next one. The reason social media often leaves us depleted is because there's a quick little payoff without much result. This is life-changing stuff. It takes some time, but it pays off in big ways. Now, here's what I want to challenge you to do today. Tell me in the comments, what is one weed you want to pull up today? And right behind that, tell me what is one healthy seed you want to plant in its place. Tell me that one thing that it is for you want to pull up, and that other thing that it is that you want to plant, and watch it change your life.